Use code AFTV20 for 20% off your order with Fireaway Pizza. Just click the link in the description below or go to fireaway.co.uk now.
AFTV Julian, penalty for you?
I didn't think so. I've looked at it a couple of times, and unfortunately, I don't like saying this about our own player, especially one as dear to me as Saka, but I thought you'd call it, he was looking to buy a penalty. I see it as cheating, that he left his leg out intentionally so that he would go over and it would be called a penalty.
See him given.
I've
saw one like that on the weekend.
I've seen them given, but in football, I see a lot of cheating, and I would call that cheating. However, my father, who I just spoke to, thinks it is a penalty, and he was a qualified referee. I'd normally trust in his judgment, but I think in this case, Dad, you're wrong. I've seen it a few times.
I'll tell you what it is.
I do think he cheated.
Did you watch it in full flow? Because the thing is, sometimes with these, you watch them in slow motion, right? So it's like the one that, which was it, the one at the weekend? Yeah, the one at the weekend. To me, I thought it was a penalty because when you watch it in slow motion, you think, I don't know, man. But when players are running at pace and a player just stands there like that, it doesn't take nothing to make a player go over.
I've seen it in slow motion, I've seen it in real time. To me, I've come to the same conclusion. But
so you're arguing with your dad then?
I'm not arguing with him. Ultimately, if my dad says something...
You heard what he said?
Yeah, he's... I think he's a qualified
ref.
He's a qualified ref, but he hasn't reffed for about 40 years. So the rules have... the rules have changed. The rules have changed. But one
have to bring about a retirement.
Yeah. But one thing I will say about it is you're quite right. I have seen them given, but I just felt it wasn't that. Therefore, on VAR, if it did go to VAR, I don't think it should have been overturned.
Do you think theirs was a penalty?
I think theirs probably was, and again, I've seen them not given. But I think it was clumsy, and it was a defensive mistake. I mean that one. Let me think back. That was the one where Kivior gets turned.
Yeah.
So Kivior gets turned, and as soon as you get players of that quality running at a defence, it doesn't matter how good the defenders are. They're caught upfield. They're caught on the hop, and it was difficult for them. And then what happens? I think Gabriel. So Saliba goes for it, or was it Gabriel goes for it and pulls back? And then Saliba was caught off top. So I would say it's the fault of kind of three of those defenders. Each one had a part. Yeah, had a part to play. But just getting on to Bayern, I didn't see a lot of difference from this Bayern to the one that smacked us 10-2 over two legs. I think back a few years ago we had this kind of thought that we got absolutely smacked, and we did get smacked, but it had a lot to do with Koscielny, who back then, and this is a difference between what we are now and what we were then, when we lost one of our central players, and Koscielny back then was one of our integral players, we couldn't really cope. And I think in both those games, and in the first one I think he pulls out just before the game, an injury, and in the second one he gets sent off. And if you actually look, and even the one before that we lost by a similar scoreline. And I think I saw a statistic that while he was on the pitch for those three games, Arsenal were actually 2-1 up. But when he was off the pitch, we lost on aggregate 14-1. And that was kind of the difference between Arsenal, is that we were so susceptible to one of our key players getting pulled out, against now where we have the most amazing team, but we have an incredible squad, which gives me a lot more confidence going into the second leg.
That's going to be a very, very tough game next week in the Allianz. You've been there, I've been there. Not an easy place to go to, and their tails are going to be up now. They'll probably be a bit disappointed that they conceded, so it is an even game, but they're at home. We're going to have to show a lot to get through this.
Yeah, well, we are, but we're capable of doing it. And following Arsenal over the last 20 years in the European Cup, Champions League, whatever we call it these days, I've seen some of the most amazing performances from Arsenal.
Not in recent times, though.
Well, because we haven't been in the Champions League.
But even this season in the Champions League, we've not been great away from home, have we?
No, we haven't, but we're trying to look at positives, and we're trying to kind of give ourselves confidence. We don't want to go to Germany, and we're not going to Germany thinking we're going to lose. We're going to Germany full of optimism, full of hope, And what we need to look at is some of the Arsenal performances that we've witnessed over the last 20 years. And you know, we've been to the San Siro. I think we won 5-1 against Inter Milan after losing sort of 2-0 at Highbury. I've seen them beat AC Milan 2-0.
All a very long time ago, man. And I'm dealing with. Listen, this is a very, very good side, and obviously they can go there and turn it around. I mean, personally, I sense another penalty shootout at the end of that game. I can just see it coming, but it's going to be really tough.
Yeah, it could happen, and I sincerely hope that it doesn't happen, especially with the time of the flight that we've got back the next day, because we're going to be really pushed for actually catching that. But if it goes to penalties, then that is a bit of a lottery. And today, one thing I can say about Harry Kane, he didn't do a lot, but that penalty, he made Raya look a complete mug, because you know that little feint he did, and it was. I know it's, you know, the odds are on for them to score a penalty, but that was an absolute quality penalty because it looked so easy. But as he ran up, he just conned him. He just conned him. He went the wrong way. He just tapped it in the other corner. So they've got brilliant players.
Okay.
Munich.
Well, let me ask you finally. You think we'll go through?
Yeah, of course I do. I mean, absolutely, of course I do, because I think ultimately we've got a better team. And we deserve to, and it's our time, and we're going to Wembley.